They also want to keep the card information handy for recurring services like gaming, monthly subscription, or bill payments that you may want to obtain. Merchants are no longer allowed to store card information in any form. The only thing I would request you to give an extra attention to is that, unlike NFC based tokens, in this process, in the case of card on file token, TSP does not return the token information to TRTSP. Hello everyone, today I'm presenting part 3 of the tokenization series, and we will be focusing on the card on file tokenization. Welcome to my show, the Domain Podium, where inspiration meets innovation. I'm your host Ramesh Chugh and delighted to share this knowledge with all of you. So let's dive into it. We will begin this session by first going through the traditional card on file feature, and then we will delve into the card on file token. And as always, I encourage all my viewers to assume a particular scenario. Imagine yourself into a situation so that you always first understand the user journey, followed by the system behavior. This time also, please consider you are making a payment on a merchant website or on a mobile application, and you are at the merchant the checkout page, and the website or mobile application prompts you to enter the card details like card number, expiry date, CVV2, and maybe any other additional information if the address verification is required. So the merchant website may ask you to enter the address information as well. So you are at the checkout page providing all this information, and one of the important thing to observe on the merchant website is merchant often offer you an option to store your card information on their website. And why do they ask? There are two main reasons for this. The first reason is they want to aim for a better and enhanced user experience. This means that the next time when you shop on the same merchant or website, your checkout experience is going to be much faster than previous time, as you don't have to enter your card details again in most of the scenarios. So this is the first reason they want you to store your card on a merchant website. And what is the next one is they also want to keep the card information handy for recurring services like gaming, monthly subscription, or bill payments that you may want to obtain. If you enroll for any such recurring services, first time you will make a payment manually, and then subsequently the merchant system will automatically process recurring transactions on your card by fetching the information that they have previously stored on their website or on a file. These are the two primary reasons why a merchant would ask you to store your information on their website. And when a merchant store your information, they encrypt the card detail and store it securely, typically in a database or in an encrypted file. And the next time when you return to the same merchant website or mobile application on a subsequent visit, merchant will retrieve the encrypted card information from the file or from their database, decrypt it, and send the actual card number in an authorization request to the acquirer or acquiring processor. And while they are forming this authorization ISO packet or be it any format, they will also include a special indicator signaling that this is a card on file transaction. So this indicator suggests that for this particular transaction, the card number was taken from a file by the merchant. This is what it means. Ultimately, card on file feature offers convenience and a seamless experience for users, because whenever you return to any merchant website, you don't have to enter your card number again. You will just simply go and select any of your stored card information and initiate a payment request, right? But this convenience of making subsequent payments easily comes with a cost. What I mean to say is, by allowing a merchant to store your card details, you're trusting a merchant not to compromise your information or not to use it for fraudulent activities or any fraudulent transaction, right? But is there any guarantee for this, that your information that you have stored will not be used for any maybe fraudulent cases? It's very difficult to say. So therefore, let's continue in our session, and we will try to understand how this challenge of storing card information at the merchant end is addressed or has been addressed in the industry. Until a few years ago, this responsibility of storing the encrypted card information in a file somehow fell solely on the shoulders of a merchant or merchant plugin. This essentially means that as a card holder, you had no other choice but to trust the merchant. If you want a seamless checkout experience, you had to entrust them with your card data. However, the good thing is, as the industry evolved, with the invention of tokenization and the intervention of some of the regulatory bodies like central bank, especially in case of India, merchants are no longer allowed to store card information in any form. And not only that, they have also been asked to remove the already stored information in their database or in file to ensure the full security of the customer's payment instrument, means PAN or a card number. And this is where the card on file token comes into play. Under the guidelines of card on file token, merchants have been instructed to store only the token information, not the actual card number. And let me tell you that this card on file theory and card on file tokenization, it may not be applicable worldwide yet, as I'm not 100% sure, but particularly for India, yes, it is applicable because of some of the central bank guidelines recently a couple of years ago. While we continue explore this topic, it is important to remember that the process of card on file tokenization and authorization may slightly differ from device-based tokenization, but the fundamental principles remain the same. If you are new to this topic and watching my video first time, I would strongly recommend you watching the previous two videos. You can find the URLs in the comment section. So now let's dive deeper into the card on file tokenization. We will first start with the token provisioning. The step one of token provisioning is when, as a user, you click on the save button on the merchant checkout page. The token provisioning journey begins exactly when you click on the save button. Similar to a device-based token provisioning step, a token generation request is sent by the TRTSP partner of the merchant. From there, the request goes to the TSP, which is the card network of the card pin. So ultimately, what I mean to say is, in case of device-based tokenization also, TRTSP creates a token provisioning request and send it to TSP. Similarly, in case of card on file also, the moment you click on save button, a token generation request is created by the TRTSP and given it to the TSP. And the role of TSP is almost the same as it was during NFC or HCE device-based token provisioning. First of all the basic verifications of the BIN are done. Issuer and card eligibility is done, and post that the token is provisioned, means the token is created. Once the token is created, as part of the ID and V method, cardholder authentication is done. It could be an OTP based or in-app or whatever method is supported by the issuer. Cardholder is basically authenticated using one of the authentication method. And after the customer authentication, the token is activated. The only thing I would request you to give an extra attention to is that, unlike NFC based tokens, in this process, in the case of card on file token, TSP does not return the token information to TRTSP. In case of device based token, TRTSP, after the token generation, they send the token information back to the TRTSP, which is then stored in the mobile device, right? But in case of card on file, TSP does not return the token information to TRTSP. Instead, a token ID, a unique identifier for a token within the TSP system, is given back to the TRTSP. And then TRTSP forward this information, this particular ID, token ID, to the merchant, which can be stored in a file or a database. And this mechanism of storing a token ID in a file is known as card on file token. I would like to pause here for a few seconds and call out the difference between traditional card on file and card on file token. In traditional card on file feature, merchants themselves encrypt and store the card information in their own database or merchant plugin database or on a file. But with the card on file token, TSP and issuer together take that responsibility. Issuer authenticates the user and the TSP creates the token. And then finally, merchant is allowed to store only the token ID. And this end-to-end process of card on file token ensures that merchants do not have access to your card information. Therefore, tokenization significantly enhances the security of customers' data and reduces the risk of misusing the card information for fraudulent transactions. Now look at it from user's perspective. At this particular step, the token provisioning is completed behind the scene. Means the end-to-end process of a token provisioning is completed. But surprisingly, as a user, we hardly know anything. What happens when you click on save button? Whether merchant is storing the card information or a token information, we are completely unaware of it. And therefore, I strongly believe that there is a genuine need to educate the average users about this process. I hope that after watching this video today, many of you who were previously uncertain about whether to allow a merchant to store your card or not, will now feel more comfortable and at ease to basically store your card information because it is fully secure. So until now, you have stored your card number on a merchant website or a mobile application in the form of a token. And now we will move on to the next segment of our video to understand how this token is used to make a payment during the authorization or card on file token based e-commerce transaction processing. And the first step of authorization processing is the token retrieval. Let's again go back to the traditional card on file feature where encrypted PAN was fetched from a file and decrypted for the authorization request. Whereas in case of card on file token, merchant does not have any information other than the token ID, right? So when you revisit the same merchant again, where you previously stored the card in form of a token, you will select one of your stored card and initiate a payment request. And in the background, before initiating an authorization request, the merchant will place a request to retrieve the token data based on the ID stored on the file, right? What merchant has is only a token ID which is stored in a file, and that's where merchant is going to fetch only the token ID from its database, or from a file, and place a request to the TRTSP to get the token information. The token retrieval request is submitted to TSP via TRTSP, and TSP retrieves the token information based on the token ID and sharing it with the TRTSP, which forwards it to the merchant. So ultimately, the request is initiated by the merchant to retrieve the token information using the token ID stored in the file. That goes to TRTSP. From TRTSP, it goes to TSP, and TSP will fetch the required token information and send it back to the merchant via the TRTSP. Besides the token details, the card network or TSP also generates something called TAVV, which stands for Token Authentication Verification Value. The TAVV acts like a special tag on the token data. It is like a security seal that helps the card network make sure that the token information stays safe and unchanged during the end-to-end authorization processing. So it's an extra layer of protection for your data. After retrieving the token information from the TSP, the rest of the authorization steps are similar to any token-based transaction. The merchant or merchant plugin will use the token as well as the TAVV data to create an authorization request. It also includes the card on file indicator to the authorization request so that an issuer can identify this as a card on file transaction. And finally, this request is submitted to the acquirer or acquirer processor by the merchant, and acquirer routed it to the card network by using the token ranges, where the TSP, when they receive it, they will map the token to the PAN and place the actual card number in the authorization request and forward it to the issuer. And before forwarding it to the issuer, what card network will do, they eventually validate the TAVV data to ensure the token information's integrity. Now the authorization request is in the custody of an issuer. Since it is an e-commerce transaction, it may involve second factor authentication going through the 3DS protocol, right? And therefore, Issuers will perform all the validations similar to a 3DS e-commerce transaction, like verifying card holder, CVV2, CAVV, financial checks, and all other necessary checks. They may also store the token information if required and send a response back to the card network. And at a final step, the card network or a TSP fetches the token information from the PAN to token mapping database and includes the token information in the authorization response back to the acquirer, which then forwards it to the merchant. And as a user, you will see either an approval if everything goes well with the authorization or a decline if there are any issues. With this final step, we have completed the end-to-end journey of card on file tokenization that includes token provisioning as well as the authorization. Please share your thoughts or questions in the comment section, and remember to stay tuned for our upcoming podcast on my YouTube channel, The Domain Podium. Thank you for joining me today for this session. Stay happy, stay safe, and keep learning.